Welcome to Talking Mopars, episode number 130. This is a replay of a fun Friday Night Live that I recorded with the one and only Michaela Brass, who is better known as Miss Mopar. Michaela comes from multiple generations of Mopar enthusiasts and was an amazing guest. She owns multiple Mopars, including her prized possession for which she is best known, the little black dress. She even works at a dealership and sells Mopars. It was a great episode, and I look forward to having Michaela on the show again, but we got to make sure people hear this episode first. So without further ado, if you are a Mopar enthusiast, then you are in the right place. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into the best Mopar enthusiast-driven podcast on planet Earth, and I am your host, Chris Albrecht, better known as the Mopar Hunter, and this is Talking Mopars Live.
You're listening to Talking Mopars with the Mopar Hunter, your direct connection to all things Mopar.
Before we get into the juicy meat of this episode, I have to ask you guys a question. Is your Mopar protected? Whether it's sitting outside in the elements or inside the safe confines of your man cave, it's important to keep your Mopar protected. That's why I'm excited to announce that I'm now affiliated with a company offering an amazing solution for vehicle protection. They have everything from basic indoor shields all the way to the top-of-the-line platinum shields, offering the very best protection to keep your vehicle safe both indoors and outdoors from elements like dust, water, snow, and even UV rays. Their products are guaranteed to fit and are backed by a great warranty. To find out more about my new affiliate, please visit TalkingMopars.com, click on the Affiliates tab, and follow the link to their website. If you need protection for your Mopar, don't worry, we got you covered. What's up, everybody? We are live here on Talking Mopars, a Friday Night Live, and I have a special guest that I've been trying to get on the show for a while, and the scheduling didn't quite work out, and she went on my friend's podcast, The Dodge Pod. She was with Berto over there, and she told some great stories, but I feel like because The Dodge Pod is more of a truck podcast, and I love it, by the way, that it was only fitting that she come on Talking Mopars and talk Mopars, and this young lady has a bunch of Mopars. This isn't a joke. She has a collection. It's bigger than mine, and I'm sure a lot of you listening are going to be kind of jealous of what she has. So without further ado, my special guest, Michaela Brass, also known, probably better known as Miss Mopar. Bam! There she is.
Hello.
How is it going, Michaela?
It's going great.
Awesome.
It's like springtime sort of here. I think we're going to get like a little small winter, but the streets are clean. So like car show season is, I can taste it.
Yeah,
so I can't be
mad. And you're joining us. Thank you for joining us late. I'm on the West Coast. Michaela's on the East Coast. So she's joining us super late. So hopefully she doesn't fall asleep on the show. And
I'm good.
I'll try not to keep you here too long. But
good.
We'll have a fun night talking Mopars, and later on we'll open the chat. And if anybody has any questions for Michaela, feel free to ask them. So, Michaela, you are a woman of Mopar. And one thing I love about women of Mopar is they're serious. They're not just the girls that just pose with the cars, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love true Mopar enthusiasts that are women, because you're like a very rare breed. So it's nice to talk to you guys because, you know, thankfully I know enough women of Mopar that I can have a good conversation with, and they know more about Mopars than me, and I love it. So I was telling you before we got on screen that being a father of a daughter who's almost 3, I really want to let her grow up around Mopars, but I don't want to push her so much that she gets turned off by the Mopars. I want her to be, you know, excited to go work with dad in the garage or go to dad with car shows and stuff. So I'm curious, what got you started into Mopars? Because I know you have a really close relationship with your dad.
Yeah, well, my dad's awesome. And Mopar has been a thing in my family for many generations now. And I can remember the exact moment that, like, you just, something ignites in your blood and you're like, yeah, like this is part of who I am. And I was probably about the same age as your daughter, 3 or 4. And my dad took me into town for an ice cream cone in his 70 Challenger, and the top was down, and it was like that kind of summer where the air is still sticky, and I got my little vanilla kitty cone. And when we were driving home, I remember he drove past our street, and I was always like a nervous child. And I was like, why did he just drive past our street? And my dad looked at me and he shifted gears and he said, how about we go for a quick little ride? And I just remember like all this like worry faded away, and I was just like wind in my hair, like that smell of carbureted gas, and the way that car responded every time he shifted. I was small, but like something in my heart just changed that day. And I was like, I need to have this. I need to do this thing that my dad is doing. And I looked over at him and he was so cool. I mean, my dad's a cool guy, but like in that moment, he was just such a cool guy. And I was like, I'm going to be just like my dad.
That's awesome.
And here we are.
So from that moment forward, you were the daughter who was going out to the garage, wanting to work with dad on the cars and stuff.
Yeah. So my dad still to this day dailies an 85 Power Wagon.
Nice.
Power Rim. And he put air conditioning in it one summer. And I remember being out there with him, like it maybe wasn't that late, but to me, it felt like all hours of the night. I just wanted to be there with him while he was working on his truck. And I mean, that just sort of stuck. Like if my dad was out in the garage, I wanted to be with him. If he was out plowing snow, I wanted to be with him. If he was driving one of his cars to a car show, I wanted to be right there with him. And it just like, I don't know, it's in my blood.
That's awesome. What kind of cars did your dad have in his collection? Was it just the 70 Challenger at the time, or?
So my dad has, and probably our family's prized possession, is a 62 Chrysler 300.
Oh, wow.
My dad's parents met working at a Chrysler dealer. My pop-up was a technician and my grandma worked in the office. And their boss, my grandma didn't have a ride to work, and their boss said, oh, Frank lives near you. He can pick you up and bring you into work. And that's how they met.
Oh, wow.
And my papa was driving a Chevy at that time, but he traded it in, and him and my grandma drove the 62 Chrysler off the showroom floor at a local dealer to us. And that stayed in our family its whole life. My dad bought it back when he was in high school for $65 from my great uncle, who my pop-up had sold it to for a couple of years. And he restored it. And so that sort of started it all. So
Okay.
That's our, like, if there was a car that defined the Brass family, it's the Bermuda Turquoise 1962 Chrysler 300. It's a non-letter car, 383. They use it to tow camper cross country. Like,
Wow.
It's just, it's such a big part of our family history. So that's the standout. But then, you know, when you're a kid, the 70 Challenger convertible is like,
yeah.
you know, you're like, Dad, pick me up from school in the Challenger. Pick me up, you know, it's like a super cool car. And then he has his 85 Power Ram, and we still tool around in what was my mom's 99 Durango. So we don't like to let things go. We just really, we keep them till they die.
That's awesome. How often do you get to cruise the 300? Does your dad let you drive it around?
I've never driven it, and I don't ever want to drive it because if something ever happened to that car,
oh gosh.
I've ridden shotgun in that car for more miles than I can count. My mom used to drive it to car shows for my dad because he would drive the Challenger, the stick shift. She could drive that, and I'd ride with her, and I'd be worried the whole time, like, stressful. So I will admire it from afar. That's his car to drive.
That's funny. Hey, respect. I'm that kid is like, oh, let me drive it, and then God forbid something bad happens, you know.
Anything else? I learned how to drive stick shift in my dad's Challenger, like that.
Oh my God.
I can, but that 62 Chrysler, I never want to be responsible. Like, no way.
Man, I wish I had a story like that. I learned how to drive a stick in a 79 Rust Bucket Honda Accord in my grandma's driveway. Oh man, you outdid me there. It's funny because when I talk to people that have great stories about their parents having awesome Mopars and stuff, I always have to call my dad. Like, hey, you should have stepped your game up.
What
Pop.
did you do wrong?
I'm like, come on, man. I mean, we had a custom Dodge van, you know, like a boogie van, but
yeah,
which was cool in its own right because you'd never see them. But a 70 Challenger convertible, 4-speed.
Yeah.
Amazing car.
It's a
Does he
wicked
still
cool
have
car.
Does he still have it?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
So,
So
wow.
can I tell a side? Can I tell a side
Absolutely.
story?
Absolutely.
Every year at Carlisle, I get to give a celebrity choice award,
Oh, cool.
and every year I say I want to pick the car with the coolest story here. Like I want to get to know somebody,
Yeah.
and not just because it looks cool or it's perfectly restored or it's a survivor. Like those are all super cool things, but I love to hear that story behind it. And a couple of years ago, I like walked that show field, and there were so many beautiful cars there. But I was like, you know what? There's one car here that's the reason that guys call me Miss Mopar, and it's this 70 Challenger. Because if I never took that ride with my dad, I just would have never turned into the person that I've become. So I got to give my dad an award for that car, and like I could stop my eyes out right now just talking about it, but like most prestigious moment ever in my whole life, probably.
No, that's awesome.
So,
yeah, you're in Pennsylvania, so you get to go to Carlisle every year. Lucky you.
Every year, 118 miles from my dad's house to the fairgrounds.
Oh man,
so
I'm jealous.
You don't miss it.
Wow. I that's one on my bucket list. I have to go. Everybody says if you're a Mopar person, you got to go to Carlisle at least once.
It's like the Grand Canyon. Like you can look at all these pictures of it, but until you walk through Gate A or whatever, Gate 3, whatever, and you just like sort of take it, it's wild. The first time we went, we walked into the swap meet end of things, and we were like, oh, this is cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. Look at that car. Look at that car. And then you kind of walk up a hill a little bit, and you're like, holy heaven on earth.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not part of a cool club because I get asked that all the time. Have you ever been to Carlisle? I'm like, no, and they're like, oh, like, oh man, ouch, ouch. So it's definitely on my bucket list. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So let's get into your projects.
Okay.
When did you get your project car? Your first project? How did you find it? I want the whole story from the beginning.
So my very first project car was this 71 Roadrunner, and it's parked in my garage right now. It's still a project car. But as I got older, I kept saying to my dad, I want to restore a car like you did. I really want to restore a car like you did. And my dad's cousin had this Roadrunner that he was going to junk, and my dad sort of rescued it. And he said, well, how about we work a deal on the Roadrunner, and then you fix that up and you restore it. And I said, okay, game on. I can't wait. But this car was so badly rotted that me as a high school kid, I couldn't afford to do any work on it. So I got into college, and I was like, I really just want something that I can drive around with my dad to car shows. So I stumbled upon this 72 Charger, and the floodgates sort of opened from there. So I got that car in October of 2010.
Okay.
And when we unloaded it off of the trailer into my yard, I sort of had this like just sheer anxiety attack of what have I done? I spent every penny of my life savings on this car, and it was a mess. Had dead cats in it.
Oh my God.
Trees growing out of the intake manifold. It had a full tank of 21-year-old gasoline that like still lit. So we had to figure out how to dispose of it. It stunk so bad. It was like shellac. God. It was just awful. But that car didn't need a ton of body work.
Cool.
Everything else my dad could do. So we sort of started ripping and tearing at it, and it got expedited a little bit because I said to Ed, who runs Chrysler Nationals at Carlisle, I was like, you know what, you need to have a female owner's display. And I'm just running my mouth. Like, I'm just running my big mouth with these ideas. He's like, oh yeah, in a couple of years. And it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, I get an email, and he's like, so is your car going to be ready for the female owner's display?
Oh my God.
I guess. So that was like 10 and a half months I had to finish it.
Oh, wow.
There's still some stuff on the car that needs to be done. Like, I've had weather strip sitting in my garage for years. But you're like, you never drive them in the rain, so you don't really know this.
I come from the ratty Mopar camp, so I'll drive wherever, whenever.
Honestly, I was saying to my dad that's kind of a more fun camp because you don't worry. Like the first day I had my charger out and there was like a cloud in the sky, I was like, just like, and I didn't have any fun because I was worrying the whole time if it was going to rain and if I was going to drive it in the rain and then what was going to happen when I had to clean it. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth the headache, long and short of it. But like when I take Wild and Blue out the power wagon,
yeah,
you're just like, who cares?
yeah, exactly.
It's just fun to drive. There's no stress about it.
Yeah. Everybody has to have that one car that's like no stress, just have a good time and not worry where you park it. And, and it's funny because in today's day and age, you can drive a pile as long as it's a muscle car or something cool. And people will still think it's cool. Even if it's rusting, like driving down the road, just rust falling off it. They're like, cool car. You get thumbs up everywhere. It's like, okay, cool.
People love the power wagon. I think one of the magical things about the fact that I don't care if somebody gets in it with their muddy shoes is that you get that kid at a car show that's so excited and they're just like, oh, this is a cool truck. And you can like open the door and be like, you want to hop in? And their dad takes a picture and they're smiling and it's just like, it's a cool experience for them. Like, I think that's some of the magic behind it too, is you're just like, okay, so climb on up there. I don't care if you step on the seats. They have $12 seat cushions from Pep Boys on them.
That's funny. You did kind of gloss over it. So you're in high school when you find the charger.
I'm in my second year of college. No, wait, my last year of college for the charger. High school when I got this idea that I was going to restore a car.
Okay, I see. How did you find it?
On Craigslist.
Nice.
And I'm sitting in the back of my criminal justice class, like scrolling through on my phone. And I saw it. And I'm a B-body girl. That's all I wanted was a B-body girl. I'm looking at Dusters, I'm looking at Darts, and they're all cool, but I want a big car.
Yeah.
And I like pop out of my seat. And my professor's like, oh, Miss Breath, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I have to just call my dad. So I run out and I call my dad. And I'm like, Dad, you got to get up to this town. It's like an hour away. I'm like, you got to go look at this car. Somebody's going to buy it. And I got to get it before somebody buys it. So my dad is such a trooper that he drives up there to look at it. But the guy that he was not at, it was at like parked outside a shop. So nobody was there. So my dad looks at it, he's like, oh, well, let's go up and look at it in the morning. And there we go, trucking up there with a car trailer.
I didn't go to college, but I could only imagine what I would do if I was sitting in class and I looked over and I saw a girl cruising Craigslist for cars.
For junker cars.
I might drop to a knee right there. That's amazing. So
I was just such like the weirdo though. Like, I went to a private Catholic school. I had a great college experience, don't get me wrong. Hindsight 2020, would I do it again? But like, I was the weird girl because I'm like, I threw a car show for my senior project.
So did
Everybody else is like doing thesis statements.
That's
and
hilarious.
I'm like, I'm going to have a benefit car show. Can someone give me the campus insurance so I can make this happen?
Yeah, I didn't realize I did a car show for my senior project too. I had no idea how much was involved in having a bunch of cars show up to a parking lot. I was like, insurance? I was like, my God, what?
Insurance. And still to this day, so I run 2 car shows, my All Mopar show and the Ambler Auto Show, which is like a street show. Okay. And that's even worse because it's like you have to shut down public transit. You have to get all of these like ducks in a row. And then look, I love a good burnout as much as anybody. But the people that aren't throwing this car show, they get all whacked out when you say, please don't do a burnout when you leave. Because that wrecks our insurances.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so as much as I love throwing a car show and as much as I love going to a car show and as much as I want to cheer the guys on when they're burning out, pulling out, I'm the one that's like, please don't. Yeah. Because my headache will just get bigger.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand what goes into just event planning these events. It's insane.
It's wild. Like, so my All Mopar show is we start planning the day we have the show on a Sunday. Monday, we move all the cars back onto the lot. And Tuesday, we're planning for the next year. And it's like, I love it. It's like my adrenaline rush. But I mean, you don't, and the months come, like I'm 1 month away from my street show. And I'm like, when am I going to sleep? I got to get sponsors and vendors and this and that.
Wow. How long have you been throwing the street show?
So my first year was supposed to be 2020, but of course that got out of whack.
Sure.
So last year was my first one chairing that show.
Okay.
Which was a cool learning experience because everybody has an opinion and you kind of like to take everybody's thoughts and perspectives in. Like the big debate, for lack of a better word, is, you know, rain date or rain or shine, or trophies or no trophies, professional judging or peer judging. And everybody has thoughts on everything, and they're more than willing to share them with you.
Yeah, of course.
In every way, social media, and they'll call you and they'll email you, whatever. And it is really cool to have that kind of feedback, and then to try to take all of those opinions and mold them into a really fan appreciated car show is kind of like a fun challenge for me. But also, like, I'm the kind of girl, like, I don't really care about a trophy. So you get people who are super passionate about getting a trophy. So you kind of have to just, you know, shoe on the other foot, and it's fun. So this will be my second full show, but all Mopar show I've been running since 2016.
Wow. That's a long time. That's longevity.
Mm-hmm.
How did you still throw it during the pandemic and all that stuff?
So we lost 2020, and then 2021 was supposed to be June, but it got pushed back to August. We had a wicked amount of restrictions here, and like our county butts up against Philly, which is sort of its own animal as far as restrictions. So we were having a lot of hoops to jump through, even in June 2021.
Yeah.
So,
But everything's a go for this year?
Everything's a go. Wow. And we got hit with a hurricane.
Dude, I saw the pictures. Show. That's crazy.
Torrential rain it led up just about the start of showtime. But, you know, we have cars come from 7 states.
Wow.
So all of our New York people, all of our Jersey people, they couldn't come. So we got about a third, which I wasn't mad about considering the weather.
Yeah.
But again, you're at the will of so many other things.
Yeah. That's like the stress of putting on a car show, like going, all right, is it going to rain? How many people are going to show up? Did we throw all this for nothing? Because, you know, some car guys are like, I'm not driving if there's even a cloud in the sky. You know?
For sure. And then you get a few that, like, we had a decent showing of classic stuff. A lot of people brought like their modern stuff that they daily drive or that they show. But we had a 70 Roadrunner come, a husband and a wife in a Hemi Cuda and a 67 GTX. And we had I think it was a 69 Dart. My mind's blank a little bit. And then all my family, we drive them in the rain. Cry about it when you have to clean the black car later, but
let's go back. I still feel like there's more to the story of the little black dress. So you have not even 11 months to build this car to get it ready for a show, because Miss Mopar has a big mouth, and she mentioned that's funny. So what was that? What was that process like? You tell your dad, all right, Dad, so what we got going on?
God bless my dad, because he's just a trooper. Like, I'm just like, Dad, I need this. And he's like, okay, I need to take the car to paint. Let's load it up on the car trailer. Like, he's just a great sport when it comes to helping me. I have a really fantastic support system in him and my sisters. And my uncle's really talented in the world of all things automotive. So we were able to pull it together. I got that car back from paint the last week of June, and we left for Carlisle July 12th or something like that. So it was a very short window.
Wow. What's that feeling like when you fire that thing up for the first time and you know you did it? You know, you had that little bit of time and you're going to Carlisle, which is arguably one of the biggest Mopar shows on the planet.
Not for nothing, and not to make the podcast sad, but my dad and I finished the engine before, because I was just going to drive it. So we rebuilt the engine and threw it back in the car before we had restored the car. And the night we put it back in, my mom calls us in for dinner. My dad says, "Oh, it's getting dark. It's a little bit chilly. We'll fire it up tomorrow." And my mom passed away the next day. So I didn't, unexpectedly. So I didn't touch that car for like a month and a half.
Oh my
So
God.
for me, you know, I've done engines in the meantime that were certainly special, but I think one of the most special things about my 72 is that, like, that car saved my life. Like, I was broken. I was
Yeah.
grieving. I was trying to figure out, like, what is life without a mom?
Yeah.
And with a distraught family, and I'm sort of traumatized, and I don't know what's up or down. And the one thing that sort of gave me purpose was like, I'm going to fire up this car.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that instance, there's a video of it on my YouTube if you ever want to check it out. But it was like, I don't know, it was the first time I smiled in months, the first time I like sort of felt alive, and it just sort of gave purpose to a life that didn't seem to have purpose at that moment.
Yeah.
And I drove it down the driveway. I didn't even have tags on it, so I pulled out on the street. But like, you know what I mean? You're like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy right now. I don't even care.
Yeah.
So, so that car, I mean, the story of the little black dress goes so much further than just a car, for me, at least, because it's been so intertwined in these moments of triumph and tragedy in my life that it's like just part of who I am. So to fire that engine off for the first time was like spiritual and magical and emotional all at the same time.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Best
That's
experience of my life restoring that car.
So what you're telling me is the little black dress is going nowhere ever. That's what you're telling me.
Nowhere ever. Well, that car is not perfect, and I know there are a million people in the world be like, I don't like those third gen Chargers. But I'm like, until you experience what I experienced with this car,
yeah,
you just don't know. Like, bury me in it, because it's not going anywhere. Ever.
That's awesome. I completely understand. So as we kind of brushed over to, you have more than just a little black dress. You've got the Roadrunner that you originally bought. I got to ask you about that. So you've had this project car forever. Your first project car.
Yeah.
Is it still in the same condition? What are the plans for that thing?
So that's a car that I want to do the right way. With the 72, I was young, I was in college, I was on a very short time constraint. So there were corners that I cut that I don't want to cut with this car. Because I think that this one, it's a numbers matching car. I want to do my best to keep it that way. Yeah. It is super rotted. So a couple of years ago, I picked up a 71 Satellite, which may serve as a donor car. I'm not sure yet. But it's in a nice cement floor garage now. So, you know, it's not sitting out in the brush rotting away like so many people do to these cars that they claim that they're going to fix. And I'm slowly acquiring parts for it. And my dad and I were actually just talking the other day, and I'm like, what's stopping us from just ripping the engine out of this thing and rebuilding it and starting there? Because once you start it, that's like the hardest part, you know?
Sure. Absolutely.
So it's always there. I see it every time I walk out of my house. Like it's just every time I go out through the garage, I look at that car and I'm like, okay, still there.
Yeah.
Still needs to be fixed. So someday we'll get done, but it's going to get done the right way. Like I want, example with the Charger, my engine compartment is not gloss black, it's satin black.
Okay.
So like with the Roadrunner, everything's going to be gloss, because I want like just little details like that I wish I would have done on my 72. I'm going to make sure I do on the 71.
Do you have plans to change any of that stuff on the 71 or the 72?
No, maybe someday.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's just a perfectly fine cruiser, and I don't intend for it to win trophies, but it wins trophies, and so I'm just gonna leave it and focus on the Roadrunner or whatever else comes my way.
Whatever else comes your way. So you have more than just you talked about the Power Wagon. Let's hear the story on the Power Wagon.
So the Power Wagon is a funny story because mine is a 64 panel, which means it has no windows in the back.
Yeah, awesome.
But I say a couple of years ago, and it's been well more than a couple of years ago now, I had a 66 Town Wagon with the windows with a guy, and he took it, and I was more distraught about the loss of the truck.
Yeah.
So my boss says to me, you could find another one of those trucks easy. There's one parked in my town. And I'm like, there's no way there's a Power Wagon parked in your town. And he's like, oh yeah. So I wrote a note, and I'm like, leave this in the guy's mailbox. So the guy sends me an email, and he's referring to me as Michael the whole time. So I'm just rolling with it, and I go to look at this truck, and I hop out, and it's me. And he's like, I was like, hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. And he's like, I had a knee replaced and a shoulder replaced. I can't drive this truck anymore. So I ended up getting my truck because I left a note in the mailbox.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey.
My newest Power Wagon, the 69, that found its way to me. It literally found me. A guy called my office and was like, I hear you're the girl that likes big old trucks. And I was like, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a rumor around town.
Gosh.
And he's like, can I show you pictures of this one? And now I got one.
Wow. So. I need somebody to call me like, I hear you really want a wing car.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me. Wow.
Yes, I would. Where can I pick it up?
Jeez. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So couple trucks, couple B bodies.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else laying around?
I have my new stuff. I have an 05 Wrangler. That was my first car ever.
Okay.
And then I have a 19 Shaker RT Challenger. Nice. And I have my pickup truck.
The Challenger's got red interior, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Isn't that sick? I love red interior. God.
Everybody's always ripping on me like, why didn't you get the Scat Pack? I'm like, because when this car pulled off the truck in Destroyer Gray with ruby red interior, I said, done. I don't even care.
Yeah. No,
it looks so good.
Being a family guy now, I got my family, and a Challenger was like, it was really pushing it. I was going online finding videos of guys showing you how to put a car seat in the back. And my wife, as supportive as she was, she's like, come on. And I was like, all right, what about a Charger Scat Pack? I looked all over locally, and I could not find one with the red suede. I wanted the red guts. Yeah. I wanted it so bad, and I could not find one.
I love that thing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So let me ask you this. So you're a Mopar girl. You have old Mopars. You have new Mopars. Do you see? I feel like there is a divide in the Mopar community. When I go to shows, it seems like the new stuff's over here and the old stuff is over here. Do you see that too?
Yes.
And how can we bridge that gap? How can we bridge the gap?
I'm a traditionalist. If I had to pick today between my 19 and my 72, I'm picking the 72 all day.
Yeah,
there's something so, like, when I drive my Charger, it's almost like church, like
Church of Mopar. I like it.
Yeah, it's like religious. And that sounds so silly, but you're a Mopar guy, so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I absolutely know what you're talking about.
When I hop in my Challenger, I know I'm going to get where I'm going really fast. I'm going to play really loud music, windows down, my iced latte in the cup holder. Like, it's a different experience. And when I have at all Mopar show, we break it into classics and modern for voting. And you pick your favorite classic and you pick your favorite modern. And everybody always votes on the classics. And I'll always get like maybe 5 to 10 of the 300 ballots back, and under modern, they write, "Who cares?" or "They all suck," or whatever.
Oh man.
And I'm
Come
like, y'all, like, a spade, yes, they're two completely different beasts, but we need both of them. And as a younger person in the classic car hobby, if we can save a person of my generation from getting a Honda Civic and making it sound like a lawnmower, because we get them in a scat pack, get them in a scat pack. This doesn't seem like a hard equation for me. You know, carburation, while I love it, is not something that everybody can just hop behind the wheel of and fire off. You know, like some people, that's just not some people's gig, but they still like the car culture. So let them have their end of the car culture. I have not done a single modification to my Challenger. It is exactly the way I drove it off the lot. I don't feel the need to put colory lights on it or decals or whatever. But for some people, that gives them a place in the car culture. So let them have a place in the car culture, because, you know, they're paying my bills. One, I sell those things for a living.
We're going to talk about that too.
And two, like, everything must evolve as long as we don't forget where we came from. We came from late 60s, early 70s muscle. That's what birthed the scat packs and Hellcats. So, like, I think right now you have to have one and the other. And right now we should be fighting like hell for the guys driving the new stuff, because this shift towards electric cars is really putting the modern end aspect of our hobby in a lot of danger. And as two people that didn't make Chief Donut Maker, we can sit here and say electric sucks, right? Can we say that? Yeah, I was watching my mouth so hard because I was like, I can't talk any bit of anything bad, because you know that they're going to push. But then they picked a girl whose uncle did her burnout, and I was like, done, hate EVs.
Oh yeah, I
got that off my chest.
Yeah, you know, I watched a lot of them, and I put mine out there. I knew, and to be honest, I wish I hadn't, because I thought about it, and some of the things I've said on the podcast could be controversial. And I was like, oh man. And then if you did, as cool as it would be, if I ever see some sort of success with this podcast, I don't ever want to be able to credit somebody else for that. And it's like, oh, well, if he hadn't been Chief Donut Maker with 150 grand and, you know, had Dodge's help, then blah, blah, blah. So to be honest, it was for me, it was a blessing in disguise, because I would have been under the corporate, you know, like, hey.
You know, and the more I think about it, like, I was totally like $150,000. I'm going to buy my dad a new Power Wagon. And he's going to park his Power Ram, and it's going to be this cool story. And, you know, I had all these like sort of daydreams about it, but I was like you too. Like, if you look at all those people, and this is not a diss to them, because I hate when I toss my stuff on the internet and people diss me and just think it's rude. But like, if you look at the people that they picked, and I, out of curiosity, watched all the videos.
Me too.
It lacks authenticity. Like,
okay, see, I said the same thing.
Nobody in those videos has busted knuckles. Nobody in those videos has, you know, winched a project car onto a trailer. No, and it's just like, okay, cool. So your daddy bought you a Hellcat, and my parents wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. Have taught me a lot of things about life, and earning my own stuff is one of the most important things they've taught me. So I can't get down with the girl whose dad buys her a Hellcat, because where's the pride? Where's the fuzzy feeling when you get behind the wheel of that thing? Like, and I just think that I don't know. I would rather be me posting pictures on Miss Mopar, saying what I want to say.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, my dad will have to wait till I find truck money some other house. So
I just remember watching the first one I watched, and you know, I looked at it with an open mind. I know there's a young gal on there that's a drag racer and stuff, and it seems like she she's my pick personally because she has some legit history with the cars, and she's been behind the wheel on the 1320 running the drag strip. That's cool. I respect her. I'd love to get her on the show. But one of the guys was talking about, yeah, I even had a podcast. I was like, that's funny because I never heard of it. So I'm like, it must not have been a Mopar podcast, dude. It must not be very good because I couldn't find it. So
well, and that's the other thing that I was saying. I'm like, how are you going to pick people who like, okay, cool, your pop drives a Bel Air. That's cool. In the grand scheme of classic car culture, that certainly was a big player, but like, it's not classic car, don't know me.
I just, in my vision, I was like, if they pick me, I know I'm probably going to be standing there with Miss Mopar, and I'm gonna be like, well, I lost this one. So, like, you know, you've got everything. You've got the old stuff, the new stuff. It would have been fun. It would have been fun.
Yeah.
You would have had it in the back. I would have lost. It would not have even been pretty, but I would have tried.
but you know, when I was thinking, like, I was saying to people, like, okay, let's just say we get top 10. Like,
sure.
I was looking at it as like, I really want to meet some cool, like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I would have been super bummed if I got picked and the people that got picked were the people that I had to hang out with.
Yeah. No, I think Dodge missed an opportunity. That's just
they most certainly missed an opportunity. And I think, like, I get it. It was like a marketing attempt.
Sure. Yeah.
But who's buying the cars? Us diehards.
Yeah.
Like, I won't front with anybody.
Yeah.
I would buy another new Challenger because for the purpose in my life that the new Challenger serves is, I like it. I'm going to buy another new Ram because that purpose that it serves, coming out of the mouth of a traditionalist, but also coming out of the mouth of somebody who sells cars and is in trade-ins all day long.
Yeah.
The product that our brands are serving up is far superior than the competitors. You know, so
yeah, they had the entire package with you. You know, new stuff, old stuff. She sells them. What else do you want? You know what I mean? I'm
already an ambassador. Sometimes I'm like, maybe that's the problem. They're just like, she's just going to keep doing it for free.
That may be. Let's talk about your job. I've been wanting to get somebody in the business for a while because I talked. Yeah. If you go back and listen to the podcast, I tried to buy a Scat Pack and I could not work a deal on this. Now, maybe just one of those stubborn people that goes in and I will only pay this much. I'm one of those people. And I walked away from so many deals for like, okay.
Well, were you walking away from them pre-pandemic or post-pandemic?
This was kind of pre.
The pandemic has shifted the entire market.
This was pre-shutdown. It was like right on the cusp of everything going crazy, right? So I had money, and one of the things that irked me. Now, I hope you've never done this, but I want to get your opinion on this. So,
okay,
you know, it's like everybody's being a little bit more careful. So I'm like, all right, you know, I'm going to try working this deal online. So I worked this deal. We worked the numbers online. Everything is worked out. I already have a loan for the car, for the amount, everything. All I'm doing is going down there to sign paperwork because I said, look, I know it's a pandemic. I have a 1-year-old. I'm not trying to let her sit. I know how this car deal stuff works. I don't want to sit there forever. You have a deal. You've sold a car. I just want to sign the stuff, but I got to test drive it first just to make sure everything's kosher. Sign everything and we'll hand me the key. Here's my trade-in, blah, blah, blah. So I get down there and the sales girl was nice. And she starts asking my wife and I questions, you know, name, stuff like this, standard stuff at first. And it started getting a little bit more credit reporty type stuff. And I was like, yeah, and I already had a loan. Now I understand they could probably get a couple extra points down, pad their pockets a little bit. I get it. But the thing is, I'm not there for that. I already bought the car basically. Right. So the car's in the showroom and it's a used Scat Pack. And I'm like, can I drive the car? And she's like, yeah, we'll move it out. But first I need some of this information. And she's taking all this stuff. And I'm like, hold on, you're not running my credit, are you? Because I already got approved for a loan. I've already got this thing lined up, right? Oh no, not at all. So two hours waiting. And I'm like, can I drive this car or what? And my wife we're sitting there in the showroom. My wife and my kid I'm starting to get impatient. I'm the car guy. I love buying cars. So I'm like, I'm seeing my wife go, what's going on? What's taking so long? I went up. I was like, can I drive the car? I mean, what are you guys doing? This has
Yeah,
never happened to
they're
me
holding
before.
it hostage in the
They
showroom.
they were. And all of a sudden, my wife starts getting emails. Boom, boom. They ran our credit. And I was like, hey, guys, did you run my credit after I asked you not to? Yeah, but blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, 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 no. Give me the keys to my trade-in. I'm out of here. That they had the car sold. All they had to do was just let me drive it, which I did drive it, but there was still a wait after that. After I got back, I was still waiting for another 45 minutes. And then that's when my wife started getting boom, boom, hit with the credit report. I was like, that's the last thing I wanted to do. That's why I went to my bank, and a bank that I trust and I've worked with before. I was like, well, why would you do that? Is it, be honest, is
I've
it just
never done that.
do you think that they were
My
trying to,
dealer won't do that, but
do you think they were trying to pad that? Yeah, the points.
want their finance theft, which whatever. But
that's scandalous, right? I feel like that was scandalous.
I love my job for a bunch of reasons. My boss is super cool. He's one of the owners of our dealership, and he's sort of given me free reign to mold my selling process to how suits me. So, usually you walk into a dealer and you meet the receptionist, and then she introduces you to a sales guy, and then he shows you the car, and then the general manager gives you the pricing, and then you go back to finance. So like you've been with 5 people.
Yeah.
And I've been given the opportunity to sort of streamline that. So I greet my customers. I show them the car. I explain the features to them. We agree on price. We sit down and take credit if applicable.
Yeah,
a lot of people pay cash these days, and a lot of people secure their own financing because everything has been made so internet savvy with the pandemic. They sign their paper with me, and then I go out and I sit in the car and I pair their phone and show them features and whatever. So that, I think, gives people the opportunity to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
With me. And it creates a relationship where when they need an oil change, they text me and they say, hey, Nick, can you schedule my oil change? Or when they have a blowout on I-95, they text me and they say, hey, Nick, can you see if I have tire and wheel coverage? And like, those people are going to come back to me for the next car, and they bring their friends and their family. So I think being an enthusiast of the car culture just in general, I don't want somebody to have a bad experience.
Yeah,
I don't ever want somebody to be like, oh, I love my Dodge, but buying that Dodge was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I want people to be like, I love my Dodge, and buying my Dodge was such a cool, seamless experience that you should go to Mickey and get a Dodge from her. Like, so I don't vibe good on these bad practices because it gives salespeople a bad name.
It does. And it's funny because I've met some really cool salespeople.
Yeah.
Some really cool. I mean, you're one of them. I have friends that are salespeople. I have friends that are like giving me the inside of the, because they used to do the old school Foursquare and move numbers around. And I'm like, look, and I had this tactic when I went to a dealership because some, they still do it old school. They have a bunch of guys out front, some are smoking, some are texting or whatever. And then
some are wearing their short sleeve button up and you're like, welcome to 2022, guys. Join us.
Yeah. You see the guy with the hairy chest with the gold chains and stuff like, oh, you want sports car? We get you sports car. I loved going there and seeing those guys, and all of them look at you when you drive in. I used to get out of the car and I'd go up, here I am. And they're like, all right, he knows the business. So thankfully, sometimes they just come up to me and be like, hey, if you want to see anything, just let us know. Because they, a sucker, I'm sure they have suckers go on those lots all the time. And I've seen it in action. I'm like, I feel bad because I'm listening to these people just get worked. And I'm like, man,
And why do you want to work somebody? I mean,
I don't understand.
In any profession, like, if I feel treated unfairly anywhere, let's just say, at the gym or at a restaurant, like, I'm going to be like, I'm going to go back there. And I'm going to tell my friends, like, you wouldn't believe this. And I never want to be somebody's complaint.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it doesn't, so much of the process. And we saw a huge shift with the pandemic when we were made to do everything online. In our county, people couldn't even go on test drives.
Wow.
So people were coming out of leases, or having wrecks and needing new cars, and they couldn't even drive what they were buying. And at first you're like, oh my God. But then it made this like weird seamless shift to online buying where, you know, I sometimes meet my customers for the first time like you when they come to pick up the car.
Nice.
And, you know, you're giving people the option to, instead of coming to my dealership and looking at my inventory, or apparently my lack thereof inventory, they're sitting on their iPad and they're typing in Scat Pack and they're seeing every Scat Pack in 20 miles of them. Now, right now, it might not, you know, inventory is just so weird, but they can shop so many places at once. So why wouldn't you want to set yourself apart and create this stellar experience so that when some random says, oh yeah, you know, I'm thinking I might want to order a Ram 1500. And then somebody says, well, hey, I know a girl who's going to make your experience just wicked above and beyond. So that's sort of what I go for. And I if somebody's like, maybe the GMC, maybe the Ram, I want them to buy the Ram. Like, and again, I don't get paid by the brand to say this stuff. I just really do. Like, I want our brands to be on the road for as long as they possibly can. Because I want my kids to be able to be like, yeah, that's the car I want when I grow up. You know, I don't have a kid, so I need some longevity here.
Well, I do want to, SRT Sean, thank you for saying plug the dealership, because I do, if you can, I want you to plug where you work so that people can come buy a car from Mickey.
Yes, come check me out. I'm at Lansdale Auto Group in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. We're just north of Philadelphia on Route 309, and we also host the All Mopar show there.
Nice. Is the owner an enthusiast?
As the director of the All Mopar show, I am an owner and enthusiast of the brand. But yeah, I guess
so the owner of the dealership, is he one of those Mopar owner guys that has like a bunch of cool Mopars, or is he's just a business guy?
He's just a business. My boss is like, he used to be a pro surfer, so he's just a cool guy.
Okay, yeah. In Pennsylvania, that.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that's also why we're a little bit atypical as far as our approach to things, because he's just like chill. But it's three brothers that own the business. Their father started the business back in '67, so kind of when everything was just getting really awesome. And they're not really car guys. Like, they would rather be golfing or on their boat or surfing. So
are you the enthusiast at the dealership?
I'm the enthusiast. Like, awesome. When somebody comes in and they're like, oh, I have a 67 Dodge. They're like, oh, go see Makayla.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Now let me ask you this, because like I said, I have friends in the business, and one of them, I mean, he was working at a Chevy dealership, and my wife really wanted a Grand Cherokee, so he's like, I can find you one. I got access to all sorts of inventory. If somebody was looking for something specific that maybe they had a specific year, like I want a 2015 Hellcat, blah blah blah. Can you go through other inventory, like at auctions and stuff, and see what you can find them? Are you willing to do that?
I mean, I'll go whatever mile I could possibly go for my customers. We're a family-owned dealership, so we don't have we're just one location. So we're sort of pigeonholed to accessing auctions and stuff. But, you know, I think sometimes auction people think, oh, you got my car at the auction. But I'm like, those are cars that are coming off of lease. Especially now with people who are finding equity in their leases and are popping out a little bit early, you actually have access to some pretty cool cars coming through the auction.
Awesome. Tell me a funny experience about being a salesperson that you've had.
Oh, I have so many. I sometimes say I'm going to write a book. So we sell the Fiat brand. Yeah. Also, and they manufactured a stick shift vehicle for quite a while. So I was getting a lot of customers who were like, I really want to drive a stick, but no other brand has it. It's like maybe Mini, I don't know. So I have a guy walk. It's summertime. I have all the doors in our Fiat studio, it's called, all of them open. Guy comes in, he's like, I'm gonna stick shift car. I don't know what he did, fried the clutches in this car. Like, I'm like sitting in my office, I'm like, is something burning?
Oh
Here
no.
comes this guy. I still to this day can't wrap my brain around what he could have done to that car. I don't know if maybe he was trying to start out in third. I don't know. But he did end up buying a car for me, but he got an automatic. But his son was with him, and he was so embarrassed.
Oh man.
He was just bummed. He's like my customer, the son was like, Dad, let's just go. Like, but here's this car and this like just billow of smoke.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't. Yep. So,
all right.
but just like instances like that, like you're like, what are you thinking? People who are like, oh no, I know how to pair my phone up to Uconnect, and 3 days later they come back and they're like, no, I really do need your help. I'm like, yeah, that's why we sit in the car with you.
I might call you. I've been having problems with mine. I'm like, why are you disconnecting? What's happening here?
Oh, update your phone.
Okay.
Make sure your phone is updated.
Yeah. Okay.
But
mine has a problem sometimes.
Is a super user-friendly infotainment system. I find I really like it in comparison to other options that are on the market.
Mm-hmm.
For our Fiat lineup, we also sold the Spider, which was a combo car with Mazda. So they use the Mazda infotainment system, and I loathed it in comparison to Uconnect. Like, Uconnect was just so much more easy to navigate, and the accessibility of like moving your nav phone all to the bottom, I really like. But you know, people tell me that they know exactly what they're doing because their dad's brother has one, and he knows.
So how would you feel if you saw a little Fiat roll into the dealership and he had Mopar stickers all over it? How would you feel about that?
So, you know, the traditionalist in me is like, sir, but also the salesperson in me is like, half the parts on that car are stamped with Mopar.
Yeah, no, it is.
And you're like, I don't have an argument. So, hey, whatever. Keep buying oil filters.
That's funny. Okay, I have. So, do you get to drive all the cool stuff that comes in?
We do.
Nice.
I drove a TRX, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that probably fit you pretty good. You like it?
I really think I want a TRX.
Yeah, you seem like a TRX type of girl.
I just love pickup trucks so much. I have a 1500 Bighorn, and it's just like, I love that thing. So I'm like, if I could mush the fun parts of my Challenger with the convenience of a pickup truck, that would be like, why wouldn't I want to do that?
Yeah. One of my buddies told me that the power in those things is just crazy because you're in this giant truck and the thing just hauls ass.
So there's a 500-mile break-in period, you know. You probably know from the research that you've done on. So like when I was driving on the lot, it wasn't even at full performance.
Yeah.
Like it was still within the break-in period, and I was still like, wow, like it's just it's like driving a different beast. I drive a pickup truck every day, and something about getting in that thing with like the way the fenders bend out, you're like, ooh, this is sexy chat.
Yeah, that's funny. So you have a great job that you love. I mean,
I do. It's like, awesome. It's been a weird time. And with the whole electric car thing, like, you know, I just try to soak it all in while I can because you just never know. So.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll still be fun for a while because it's not like as soon as the electric cars come out that all the Hemi cars are just going to disintegrate. They're still going to be there, right?
And you know, we saw it back in the 70s, like when they made the shift from big muscle, and we've somehow found our way back to big muscle, and even though it's the modern version. So like, I'm hopeful that whatever this is will run its course, and that it'll accommodate the people that want it.
Yeah.
And just leave us people that want to just burn a lot of gas. to burn a lot of gas.
Do you get inside information? Like, are you going to know what this new car, this electric car, is going to be before people like me and everybody else?
Not a whole bunch. Back in the day, dealers really I think again with the internet, so my pop-up talks frequently about how when he was working at the dealer and they would unveil a new vehicle, for example, let's say the Challenger back then, it would be this whole thing, hush hush, and they would bring him in, and nobody saw him until they had this big party, and they took the cover off of it. And I almost wish I lived in that time, because I think that there would be something so elite about being at one of those events. But now everything's on the internet, before it even really is true. And then I think the brands, like Chrysler just posted something about a concept car, they're trying to stay current, so they're posting stuff before it's even really a thing.
Yeah.
And we don't get to have unveiling parties, which I think would be so much fun.
Right. I do want to open the chat for questions and stuff. I have been seeing some of your questions, but I've been trying to engage with Michaela. So if you have any questions for, I see one. I think we already answered it, but I do kind of want to. I do want to ask the question in a different way. So we already know that she'd rather have gasoline and carburation, but I have to ask you. So say this. We'll just say that the electric muscle car comes to your dealership. Yeah. You get in it, and let's just say that it's beautiful, the most gorgeous car you've ever seen, aside from LBD. Okay. Let's say that this thing is for a modern car, for something electric. You're like, wow, that thing's gorgeous. You get in it, and it is the most amazing experience you've ever had as far as speed and agility. Are you sitting there going, but it doesn't sound and it doesn't feel like a muscle car?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Hands down. There you go, Dodge.
100%. I read somewhere that one of the big heads of one of our local dealers said something like, well, they'll just add the sound artificially.
Oh, no, don't do that.
And I'm like, no. that again, we're losing the authenticity of what is so fun about the hobby. Don't do that, y'all, please.
All right. Well, you're probably the person that I know now that will probably get the first chance to drive it, because it'll probably be coming to your dealership. So as soon as you drive one of those things, you have to report back to us and let us know how much it sucked. Okay.
I will. I can already tell you it's going to suck a lot, but I will. I'm just such a traditionalist. Sure. I remember when they shifted from the older style trucks to the new DT, which is 2019 and newer. Yeah. And I got in trouble at work because I went on Twitter and I started spouting my mouth.
Oh, no.
And my boss was like, you can't say these things. You have to sell these trucks. And here I am now, and I really love my DT. Mm-hmm. But it took me a second to get over that, getting away from the crosshair grill, because it's all that I knew. That was the front end of the Dodge to me. So, those little, maybe I was wrong, I'm willing to admit, but I'm just not going to be willing to, no, not about the EVs.
Ian Hart, thank you for your question. He asks, have you done any training on the new 6 cylinders yet? I'm assuming he's talking about the turbocharged 6 cylinder that's supposed to replace the 5.7 Hemi. I
have not. We kind of get our trainings a little bit late.
Okay.
For example, when Wagoneer hit the floor, we haven't had training on it yet.
Oh my God. Wow.
So a lot of my stuff were self-taught. We're gonna go drive them and rip them around, and
cool.
And I use a lot of customer feedback, because they're the ones that are driving them to go get groceries, or using them to haul camper, whatever the vehicle is and stuff. So, but I can report back on that as well when awesome. I have.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I have some more formal training.
Shopcat Industries. Plug your YouTube channel. I've been getting on YouTube myself lately. I really like it. Plug it.
To look at it. I didn't use it until Donut Maker. And then I've gone there every day hustling likes.
Hustling like
So
that's hilarious. That's a term I've never heard. I love that term.
yeah.
I'm
So
gonna make t-shirts. I'll send you one. It's gonna say hustling likes.
right?
That's
I mean,
funny.
really, what are we doing on here?
Yeah.
Just like
Hustling
my name
likes.
and picture so I can sleep well, please. It's Miss Mopar 7172. Same as my Instagram handle,
Okay.
so I'll remember now. But there's like some super old content on there, and then my donut maker video. But some of the old content is like actually pretty cool because it's me and my dad like
cool.
toying around with. There's one video, like a 9-minute video of me and my sisters driving my Charger around the yard because I didn't have tags on it yet. But like, it's kind of fun.
Well, I'll tell
different content than like your hand on the hip
Sure.
pictures that we put on Miss Mopar to ignite some sort of conversation.
You definitely need to get on YouTube more and do like lives and like Q&As and stuff.
I should.
This is the future. If
it is.
Screw
really
Chief Donut
is.
Maker, this is the communities that I've watched getting built on YouTube just from live streaming. A couple of my friends started doing it, and I go over there to YouTube because I haven't been on YouTube. I'm a Facebook guy.
Me too. That's how I got my gig going.
Yeah.
Facebook.
And I went over to YouTube and I was like, oh, there's something going on here. So we're going all in on this live streaming stuff because it's fun to get to know people across the country and other Mopar enthusiasts that you wouldn't normally meet. Because like a lot of my own personal friends aren't Mopar enthusiasts. So I had to go out to the internet and meet all these people, which is great because I've met a lot of cool people. Oh,
I've made so many friends. Like way back when, do you remember Allpar? It's still a thing, but it's like, it used to be like, that was the haven for Mopar knowledge. And there was a picture posted on there of a 71 Roadrunner. And I reached out and I was like, this car is beautiful. Do you have more photos of it? Anyways, the guy's like, he's one of my most dearest friends now. And he lives in Minnesota. Like there's so many, even like Robert, like we connect at Carlisle from time to time, but he's in Canada and we still are able to have this back and forth. That is really cool.
Yeah, no, he's a cool guy. I had both of him and Berto on my show, and Robert is he was, I don't know if you heard his story about him at like 12 years old going, I'm gonna have a Viper. And he went out and got himself a Viper, and then he just like glosses over the fact that he's got more than one.
Like,
hey man, what's your secret?
And he's got this little toy Viper. I don't know if he still has it, but the one that he pulls up to our little camp out at Carlisle in this like mini Viper. And I'm like, where'd you get that? But it's super cool and it's such a conversation starter that like imagine the people he talked to that day just because he was ripping around in this little mini Viper. Like,
no, absolutely. I see it on the internet every once in a while. It turns up. It's a little orange mini like Superbird go-kart thing, and the guy has to lay down inside it. I want one. I don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know how. I'm the big guy. I don't know how I'm gonna fit in it.
I'm gonna get to a wing car. So sign me up.
Okay, back to the questions. I'm assuming that Mike here is asking what color your Roadrunner is and what size motor it has.
It's a 340 car. So
Cool.
In 71, you could get a 340 as a no-cost upgrade because that's when the emissions crisis was sort of happening. So it's actually kind of a goofball car. So the 340 bench seat pistol grip 4-speed, 8 3/4 rear, and it's a white gut Hemi orange or tour red as it would be for the Plymouth brand, strobe stripe delete, full vinyl top car.
Wow.
So usually in the Roadrunners you'd see the half vinyl with the strobe stripe coming down. None of that.
Wow.
Only decal it has on it is the little bird on the deck lid.
Wow, that's cool. Do you have any documentation on it, like fender tag or anything like that?
I do. I have it all somewhere, but half of it was eaten away by mice or what have you.
Yeah, sure.
So have to piece it together. But it's gonna be a beautiful car someday.
Awesome. I'm excited. Keep us posted on that one. I love project cars, and that sounds like that's
maybe that'll
badass.
be my YouTube content.
Yes.
That's what you can watch me and Frank, my dad, probably say a lot of bad words and
hey,
and look at things perplexed for a while.
All right, I like it. I'll watch. I'll tune in. Joshua Peterson, what is your opinion of the idea of a hot B engine design? I don't know what he's talking about.
Me neither.
What's a hot? Hey, Does anybody know what he's talking about? I don't. Neither one of us do. SRT Sean. Does Michaela drag race at Cecil County, Maple Grove? Are you a drag racer? Have you ever tried it?
No.
Do you want to?
I would try it, but I would need someone to drag race. And the 72 is a 318. So we're just cruising.
You don't have to be fast to have fun. So I went out and bought this pile of 73 Roadrunner. Okay, it's a 3-speed. I was just looking at
pictures of it. What do you call it? Something goofy.
It's Dumpster Fire. My wife named it.
Dumpster Fire.
Yeah. And then she changed her mind. She's like, name it Fried Chicken. I was like, you already named it. You can't do that. But it's funny. I got some graphics in the works. It's gonna be funny. But it's a 318 3-speed car, and there's this race. It's presented by the American Hot Rod Association. It's called No Name Nationals. It's for YouTube content creators with 500 or more subscribers. And to get into the race, you have to have 500 subscribers, and it's like a call out, like channels calling each other out. It's all fun and games.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. So if you get that YouTube going, you know, you want to bring a little black dress out.
Okay, we'll play.
Have some fun. It's all the way in Sykeston, Missouri, though. I've got a trailer my Roadrunner from Washington State. I think I'm the furthest registered. So I'll be live streaming that journey, and I can't get anybody to go with me. I can't get anybody to co-pilot.
Awesome. That's the most fun. The journey to get places is the most fun, and I'm gonna get. Am I taking up time? Are we on the time limit?
No.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to be like, "Hey, I gotta go to bed, dude."
No. So sometimes I've found that the most fun in getting places is just trying to get there. For example, in 2012, I got my dad's Chrysler accepted into an invitational display at Carlisle.
Cool. And
we decided to trailer there. We should have just drove it, but it was like everything that could have happened. So 6 miles from home on the turnpike, we have a blowout in the trailer. So we put this dry rotted spare on it, say a prayer, where we go. Couple more miles in, my dad's truck catches fire. It was minor, it was fine. We were fine. We got to where we're going. Wow. The truck vapor locks. We had to push it. It was also like 110 degrees. We had to push the truck with the Chrysler on an open trailer in the back into the campground.
Oh no.
Skies open up, torrential rain while we're driving this spotless clean car through a gravel campground.
Oh no.
And it's just like, I mean, that's the summary, but all of that took place in 2 hours, and you're just like, you're like, where does it go from here? And I don't know, sometimes at the moment, my dad standing on the side of the turnpike, tapping out a small little fire under the hood of his truck with a random sneaker off the side of the turnpike. Like, at that moment, you're like, we should just turn around and go home. But then you get there and you're like, so this happened.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. Those stories, as much as they suck at the time, it's like they make such great stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fun. That's a crazy story. I know a couple of people that have crazy stories like that, where it's like, Murphy's Law. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like, yep. Sometimes you just like say a prayer once you get home and the car's in the garage and you're like,
yeah. You must have do you have all your cars in a garage?
So I bought a house 2 years ago with a 5-car garage.
Oh my God.
and it's a teeny tiny little house, like
big garage.
2.5 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It's very small, but they ran some sort of electrical business out of here. So they put a big addition on the garage. So,
nice.
But I still have cars in car trailers and stuff stored. And then I have this 69 Power Wagon that doesn't fit anywhere. For Wild and Blue, I had a custom enclosed car trailer built.
Oh, wow.
Because it wouldn't fit in a garage. So I think I'm going to have to get the same thing done for the 69. My neighbors, you know that meme that's like, if you don't have that neighbor, you're that neighbor.
Yeah.
I'm that neighbor.
Me too. The look on their faces when I drove up the street pulling this pile of crap 73 Roadrunner. They're like, there he goes again.
There's our resident redneck over there.
I still think, because I live in one of those like cookie cutter housing developments, and we had an HOA, and I bought my boogie van. I bought a 78 Dodge shorty van, no window, like 70s, like hippie van that I'm trying to build into a mobile podcast studio for events and stuff.
Oh, cool. That's
right?
Cool.
Yeah. I think it's going to be awesome. We'll see. I don't want to call it the van cave. It's going to be pretty fun.
You could drive that thing to Carlisle.
Yeah. I would love to drive that and tow one of my other vehicles. I don't know what, but it'll be fun. At least, and I won't have to pay for motels because I travel a lot for events and stuff for the podcast, and I've stayed in some no-tell motels that I care never to go to again. When you do things on a podcaster budget, you have to pick and choose things. But the whole HOA disbanded. They all moved. And I was like,
good. Bye.
You can thank me, right?
There's like a great little video floating around the internet, and it's like this guy. And there's a woman taking pictures. Have you seen it? She's taking pictures of all his cars. And he's like, what are you going to do? Tell the HOA? And when I moved into my house, I live in the very back of this like hoity-toity development.
Okay.
And the first thing I asked was, is there an HOA? Because they're going to get real tired of me real quick.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Chat seems to be slowing down. Oh, Heavens Mopars, he subbed to your YouTube channel. I will be subscribing to it as well.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of UTG, Uncle Tony's Garage?
No. Is it a YouTube
it's
thing?
It's a YouTube thing.
Dang, I need to get on YouTube more.
You really, I think you'll blow up on YouTube, especially if you start doing content with. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, you don't need to be chief donut maker.
We'll be our own chief donut maker.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, whoops. I didn't scroll down. Let me scroll down here. John Wilburn. He's one of the guys who's putting on. See, John, I'm always promoting the No Name Nationals. Okay. Get a car.
Calling out?
Yeah. He wants to know if you're calling her. She's not qualified yet. We got to get her 500 subscribers.
Yeah, I have to get 500 subscribers. I have like 200 and something.
Oh, you're close then. Everybody watching this right now, go subscribe to Miss Mopar on YouTube. Let's show her the power of talking Mopars. Let's get her 15 more.
Okay.
By the end of the weekend, you might be at 300. You never know.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll play. I love these kind of things.
Yeah. Don, we're getting in the chat, buddy. Relax. Paul, my buddy Paulie, he wants you to go to Sykeston to watch me blow. I'm going to throw as much nitrous as a little tired 318 can handle. It's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to send it to the moon.
318s though, so it's going to be a good time.
We're going to try.
You're going to have a good time.
Let's see here. SRT Sean, if you're talking about getting me over 500, a lot of you guys did help me get over 500 subscribers. That was nice. Thank you. I love the 340s. This is my friend Scott who sold me the Roadrunner. He wants to see the build. Build that car.
Okay, follow my YouTube, I guess. That's where it's all going to take place.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to stay tuned for that. Scott, you'll be my co-pilot. All right. I think Michaela would be a funner ride. 1 car in the garage, 5 in the driveway. Wow. 1 car in the garage, 5 in the driveway, 1 out on the street, and 4 in the backyard. They invented HOAs. Yes, they did, John. Yes, they did.
Look, we all have a purpose in life. And like sometimes your purpose is to just decorate the world with rusty old classic cars.
It is. I got to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had one other female on the show, and that was SRT Jovita. Great show, great person. I like her a lot. Now that I have another woman of Mopar, I have to ask you. You know, I'm assuming you're single. Am I assuming wrong?
I'm single.
Let me ask you. In your dream guy, does he have to have a Mopar, or does he have to have more Mopars than you? What's the criteria? I'm curious.
I don't necessarily know that he has to have more Mopars than me. I'm sitting at 8. So like,
oh my God.
But it's just become such a large part of who I am that I think Maybe he doesn't have to have like classics. Maybe
Okay.
he has a Hellcat. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe he drives a Ram. But
Yeah.
I just think there has to be some appreciation for the hobby there because it monopolizes my whole life.
Mhm.
Car shows, Cars and Coffee, Carlisle, working on the cars, selling cars, running car shows. Like, I do some yoga and I like to walk. I like to hike outside. But like, if somebody's gonna be like, what are your hobbies? They're all very Mopar centric. So like, and don't come plant me with your Toyota Tacoma either because I'm not down. Like I'm a Dodge girl. So
okay. Melody says a Mopar, a beard, and love country music.
Melody's my super dear friend from Alabama, and that's my gig: a Mopar, beard, and
there
sing
you go.
me some Waylon Jennings.
Awesome. Melanie's got you pinned.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has any more questions in the chat, feel free to chime in right now. Other than that, we're going to get ready to shut it down. I don't want to take Michaela's whole Friday night.
You're good.
But,
I've had a blast chatting with you.
No, you're welcome back anytime. This is an open forum. If you ever see that I'm live and you want to come talk shit or something, feel free. Like,
okay.
You know, we open door policy. We welcome anybody. Crazy characters, people like that. It's funny. Heavens Mopars, Michaela, I'm at 290 subs. I'll race you to 500 subs. It would be cool to see you at the No Name Nationals. You're going to get harassed about going to the No Name Nationals now.
Okay.
Everybody sub to Michaela. Get her to 1,000 so she can get monetized and start making some money so we can get her out there.
Awesome.
And then you can all blame me when she steals the show. All right. I think we can end it on that. Let's end it on a good note. Michaela, thank you so much for joining us here on Talking Mopars. Like I said, you're welcome back anytime. I'll probably be harassing you. Hey, we need you to come back on the show and tell us about this EV BS going on.
Hey, I'm always happy to talk Mopar. So you let me know. I'm here.
Sounds good. Go ahead and plug all your social medias and now your YouTube channel.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, Miss Mopar 7172. Also my Instagram handle. I'm big on Facebook. If you type in facebook.com/Miss Mopar. Twitter, also Miss Mopar 7172. I think that's all the social media I really have. I don't do TikTok or those kind of things.
I did for a little bit just to try to promote my show. And I was like, what am I doing here?
Right? I'm like, I can't edit videos. That's not my gig.
Oh, man. John Wilburn. Hey, let's talk a minute about that. John Wilburn says he likes the forearm revolver. Michaela, like many of us, is a gun enthusiast, correct?
I am. Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to share you study criminal justice, I imagine?
So yeah, I have a degree in criminal psychology. My sister is a cop.
Oh, cool.
And I'm a patriot. So I think everybody should really cherish their right to bear arms. I'm certainly going to bear mine if need be. And this is my 686. And I mean, just like, I don't know. People are like, why would you put a gun on your arm? Why wouldn't you? Like, just be strong and be tough and go out with a bang and stand up for what you believe in. And that's why I put it on my skin.
Do you have Mopar tattoos too?
I do. I have a Mopar M here. I have a devil heart. I have my the front grill emblem for my 72 on my leg.
There you go.
Yeah.
Polly. So every man's man in the chat that doesn't have a Mopar tattoo, I want you to understand that Michaela has more than you.
Yes, I have. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, there it is. There you go, guys. That's all you're getting.
Like a weird angle. I probably looked way chunkier there than I.
You sure did not. You sure did not. That's funny. Actually, the guy who called me out, his name's Dustin, and he's from Dutch Guy's Garage on YouTube. He called me out. I didn't have a car to race. I had to go buy this Roadrunner. So I bought this car to race, and it's not even ready to go. I got to get it ready. I got like 160 days or something like that, something crazy. But I wanted to up the stakes, and I said, all right, loser has to get tattooed. It has to be a Mopar related tattoo. So instead of money, we're racing for tattoos. So whoever loses, and I would get a tattoo anyway. The thing is, I didn't realize that Dustin has no tattoos. So if he loses, he's got to.
his first tattoo would be a Mopar tattoo.
Yeah, and it would be
And do
because he
you get
lost
to
to me.
pick it if he loses?
You know, I thought about that, and I'm not that much of a jerk, especially if the guy doesn't have a tattoo. I just
True.
let it be a Mopar tattoo, whatever you want. I'm not that much of a jerk, but if you don't have a tattoo, I think it's a pretty fun. It'll be a fun memory. If I lose, I'll get a tattoo, and he's got a 78 Plymouth Volare. It's a petty kit car, so it's got like the wide fenders and stuff, like the crazy kit cars they had back in the day. Big 43 on the side. So I was like, I'm crazy enough. I'll get the Richard Petty 43 tattooed somewhere. I don't know. I'm crazy. You're talking to a guy with a neck tattoo. I'll do something stupid.
Well, and tattoos are fun. I honestly forget about mine most half the time. You know what I mean? Like they just become conversation topics.
How often are you out and about? Like maybe one of your tattoos is showing, someone's like calls you out on it, like, oh, Mopar, huh?
Like this one's like a beach tattoo. You know what I mean? Sure. Like that's what, but people would be like, what's on your leg? And I have my Charger grill emblem like to size to, if I stand next to the car, they like line up. And so that's like that's always a conversation topic. But I feel like most people that know me, they're just like, that's the Mopar girl.
Yeah, I mean,
so they sort of expect it.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, I want to see Michaela at the No Name Nationals. So go subscribe. Tell her you want to see her there, and we'll try to get her there.
When is this happening?
It is September 30th and October 1st. It's a Friday and a Saturday.
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah, if we could get you out there, we'd love to have you. I don't know, John Wilburn, if you could chime in real quick, how many women are registered for this event? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to see some women drag racing at this show. If you come out and you don't bring a car, you can drag race the dumpster fire. I'll let you I'll let you rip that thing up. We'll put all the nitrous to it. If I can't blow it up, I'll let you blow it up.
Okay, cool.
Miles, you can find her at Miss Mopar 7172 on YouTube.
I must have started that when I just had the 2.
All right, guys. We'll let Michaela get back to her night. Thank you once again, Miss Mopar, for joining us. And remember, everybody, no Mopar left behind. And John Wilburn says, I register by channel. We have a few, but no hard numbers. All right. Well, I'm gonna harass Michaela and see if she wants to go to the No Name Nationals.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe.
Thank you. You also.
Mopar or no car. We'll see you guys later.
Amen.
If you're a car enthusiast like me, then you'd probably enjoy the same books that I do. I love to gain more knowledge about Mopars and cars in general, and that's where my friends at CarTech Books come in. Since 1993, CarTech has become one of the leading publishers of automotive titles for hardcore enthusiasts, with a plethora of titles available in their catalog. They have titles for everyone, whether you're into restorations, high-performance builds, or automotive history. CarTech has it all. They are a company run by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Some of the titles I have in my own library are Chrysler's Motown Missile, Mopar's secret engineering program at the dawn of Pro Stock, new Hemi engines 2003 to present, how to rebuild, muscle car special editions, Chrysler TorqueFly A904 and A727 transmissions, how to rebuild. And look, folks, they have much more than that, and so do I. In my library, I also have books on how to vinyl wrap, modifying XJ Jeep Cherokees for back when I had one of those, and modifying the new Wranglers and Gladiators, and many more. So whether you're looking to expand your knowledge or just want something cooler to put on your coffee table, CarTech has the books for you. Visit cartechbooks.com and find some awesome books to add to your collection today. There you have it, my friends. Another episode of Talking Mopars is in the books. For everything you need to know about this show, you know where to go, talkingmopars.com. And you can reach me by emailing Chris at talkingmopars.com or by leaving me a voicemail on my voicemail box at 209-28-MOPAR. And you just might get to hear yourself on this show. So keep sharing those Mopar stories with me and anything else that is on your Mopar addicted mind. Thank you to my friends over at cartechbooks.com, and also don't forget how important it is to keep your Mopar protected from the elements. If you do need protection like a car cover, don't wait. Head on over to talkingmopars.com, click on the affiliates tab, and go get your Mopar covered today. Before we shut this podcast episode down, if you want some Talking Mopars merchandise like t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and cool swag like that, check out the merch shop on talkingmopars.com. And for exclusive bonus episodes and videos only for my supporters, become a Facebook supporter today and get immediate access to those benefits. That's it, my friends. Until we talk again, I am your host, Chris Albrecht, and that was Talking Mopars Live.
Thank you for listening to Talking Mopars, your direct connection to all things Mopar. Until next time, remember, no Mopar left behind.